appreciate what we have to offer.
Maybe all the dogs will be gone someday.
Someday.
Even if you distrust everyone and have been screwed over by lots of people, it's no reason to embrace a creature that arguably embodies the worst traits in humanity, or rather, traits that would universally be seen as undesirable and antisocial if exhibited by people. In Glendale, 2 parents were charged after their children were found, living in appalling conditions.
Begin with breaking news. 2 parents accused of keeping their young children locked in a bedroom for extended periods are now facing child abuse charges. The children, just 4 and 6 years old, apparently living in their own filth.
12 News journalist Gabriella Becerra is live at Glendale Police Headquarters with new disturbing details in this case. Gabriella.
Well, Tram Troy, Glendale police tell us it was a Good Samaritan who called for a welfare check on this apartment after seeing a child standing in the window without any clothes on. When officers arrived, they had found the family of 4 had been living in extremely unsanitary and hazardous conditions. The 4 and 6-year-old boys were allegedly living in a fenced-in bedroom and weren't potty trained or given access to a bathroom. Officers found several guns inside the apartment, including one that was kept where the children slept. The father identified as Arthur Jackson reportedly told police that the children hadn't been to a doctor since they were born and they were not enrolled in school. When officers asked the parents why the apartment wasn't kept clean, the mother reportedly told them, quote, "I'm a bad mom. Sometimes I'm overwhelmed and I don't have the motivation." The father stated that he works and doesn't have time to scrub the apartment down.
The conditions here were so deplorable that our officers were quite in shock when they arrived on the scene and did everything that they could to not only get these children into a safe environment. There was a family pet that was living there as well. That family pet has also been taken from this environment, and it appeared that the family pet was actually treated better than these children were. The family pet was actually treated better than these children were.
Now, what do you want to bet that this so-called family pet was a worthless mutt? It's almost certainly a dog. And you know what I just realized? No one ever says the family cat. They only ever say the family dog, which is stupid and weird if you ask me. It's like saying the family gargoyle, the family ghoul, the family goblin, the family predator, the family food disposal, the family feces muncher, the family crap machine, the family leech. Yeah, I don't know.
A recurring theme I've noticed is that dog apologists often don't respond to our critiques of dogs and dog culture by making positive arguments for dogs. Rather, they attack humanity, which is an incredibly odd way to argue a point. To the cognoscenti of dog culture critics, it is hardly surprising that a dog nutter couple would be living in squalor or prioritizing the health, safety, and welfare of their dog or dogs in general over children, even their own. And on the off chance that the so-called pet mentioned here was actually not a dog in this instance, in a broader sense, there's still a general pet or animal nuttery that's worth acknowledging anyway. It just so happens that the vast majority of that involves dogs. And when you hear about something truly shocking, horrifying, downright evil, or unbelievable, a dog is certain to be somewhere in the picture.
Look at this obscene caption. It says,
"I've never been betrayed, abandoned, or lied to by a dog. Only people do that."
Well, I've never been randomly bitten, chased, or barked at by a person. Only dogs do that. There are tons of things dogs do that people would never do, and some that only a person who was an armed criminal out of their mind would do. I, for one, am sick of this blatant hatred of humanity that's so widely accepted these days. It goes without saying that not all people are good, and that humanity is far from perfect. The same applies to human systems. However, everything dog worshippers take for granted and enjoy, including all the stuff that enables them to be dog owners, comes from humanity and human systems, not dogs or animals. The following reading is from a Reddit post titled,
"Does anyone notice that a lot of dog fanatics act misanthropic?"
It's a slightly edited version of that posting.
I'm not saying all of them are misanthropes, but a lot of them show misanthropic behaviors. They put dogs ahead of human beings. They don't trust humans. especially if other people say they don't like dogs. They act cynical towards others. It's just a weird thing I noticed. I have studied the behaviors of dog-crazed people and found it can be compared to misanthropy. I noticed a weird pattern of behaviors from those dog people, similar to mental illnesses or other traits like cynicism and misanthropy. I find it insane how much people trust dogs over people. And these dog people shove their beliefs down your throat. Dog people also commonly have another trait of misanthropy, a lack of interest in helping others. They'll help dogs, no problem. But when it comes to saving a person versus saving a dog, a lot of those dog people genuinely like dogs more than people. And we don't have to guess what choice they'd make.
On a different thread, but also on the dog-free subreddit, another commenter writes,
This child-hating attitude sickens me. Even if you don't want or have children of your own, I don't. You should, as a human, value children above any animal. On this morning's news, there was a report of a fatal house fire. Only one person died. A 2-year-old was trapped inside, alone, and killed by the fire. It's a terrible tragedy. I can't imagine the pain the child's parents are feeling right now. Anyone who can honestly say that they would have saved a dog from that fire and left the baby to die in such a horrible way is a sociopath. It's horrifying that monsters who think that way live alongside us.
The following portion is from a blog entry called On Dog-Loving Misanthropes.
There is a particular personality type that I've come to really dislike, that of the dog-loving misanthrope. This kind of person believes that dogs are superior to humans, at a moral spiritual level. They believe that dogs are more loyal than people, will never betray you, and are not cruel in the manner that humans can be. They look on dogs as faithful companions, who love unconditionally, unlike the fickle, incompetent, and malevolent human. I have always found this personality type to be unself-aware and, as a result, ungrateful. One can imagine a kind of self-hatred in their ungratefulness. After all, they themselves are not dogs, much as they might wish to be. But there is a deeper naivete in their canophilic misanthropy, which is this. The dogs they love were made by humans. The dog-loving misanthrope is himself an immoral creature, unself-aware, ungrateful, and perhaps delusional in their virtue. They shrug off the challenge and the obligation to understand other human beings as humans, in favor of a simpler, easier alternative, custom designed by the humans they hate for their own gratification.
I regularly receive disapproving comments from triggered troglodytes and contemptible cretins from across the web. But really, they're taking issue with the fact that channels like mine present a lot of information people never seem to cover. If you've watched your share of dog attack news reports, then surely you will have noticed a disturbing phenomenon. Broadly speaking, this is the way people talk about dog attacks. Two things that need to stop immediately. The first one is people referring to dog attacks as accidents.
It was an accident. It was an accident. Don't say it! An accident! What? She tripped, fell, landed on his...
Dog attacks are not accidents.
And we are still trying to get to the bottom of what could have possibly happened.
What happened came as a complete shock.
It's unclear what led to the attack. Well, police are still trying to figure out what led up to this pit bull suddenly
attacked her for reasons still unknown.
And the dog attacked. Nobody knows why.
Stop the cap.
Another thing from dog culture, which I am absolutely sick of, is this.
People pretending it's such a mystery when dogs attack people, especially
pit bulls
and comparable dogs. Dogs that look every bit as menacing as they clearly are. The statement dog attacks are not a mystery means that it's not a mystery when an inherently aggressive predatory beast exhibits aggression. To hear half the internet tell it, this is a question that actually needs to be asked. And the first to offer answers always cite reasons like fear or pain, which of course falsely project dogs as victims. It's seriously the craziest thing ever. When, in the real world, all dog attacks are completely unprovoked. And the only real answer is because it's a dog. That is why it attacked. Because it's a dog, and that's what dogs do.
Also, dogs don't start becoming aggressive out of nowhere. Aggression is an inherent trait and does not need to be taught or somehow conditioned into them by us. That's just not how it works. If anything, dogs have to be trained to be less aggressive than they'd normally be in their natural default state. But I want to go back a bit and make another point about misanthropy, both in general and as it relates to dog culture. So, someone left the following comment a few days ago.
I am misanthropic to a degree too, but at no point has my contempt for humanity led me to desire a dirty, noisy, slobbering, expensive, burdensome canine.
This comment echoes a sentiment I've expressed myself before. As I said once before, of course, no one is expected to like every person, and humans are far from perfect. Human systems as well, as previously noted. Even if you distrust everyone and have been screwed over by lots of people, it's no reason to embrace a creature that arguably embodies the worst traits in humanity, or rather, traits that would universally be seen as undesirable and antisocial if exhibited by people. It doesn't follow from being jaded about humanity, even assuming the worst case, that embracing a gluttonous barkbag that will simply convert your cash to feces and require constant governance is a good idea.
Some of you may recall when I reacted to this video. The scenario was clearly staged, as the dog used in it was obviously fake, and other things gave it away. But again, whether it's real or not is completely beside the point. Here is a great post that was shared on a video I made not too long ago.
I've worked with a number of battalion chiefs, captains, and hosmen who will immediately ask if the homeowner's baby is a dog whenever said homeowner tries that. It's pretty much standard procedure because it's that common. My department, or any other worth its salt, will never order firefighters into an IDLH environment to rescue a dog. Even if it comes to putting out the fire or saving a dog, the fire gets put out first. No exceptions. It's absurd to consider how willing people are to sacrifice me for their overgrown rat with a 10-year life expectancy, as if the mud is worth trading a husband and father of 3 for.
It is worrying many people refer to their pets unironically as their baby. It is so bad in some states that first responders are trained to double-check if someone says my baby is trapped, that they mean a human baby. Firefighters have risked their life for babies that turn out to be dogs.
Immediate dog firefighting conspiracy.
Except it's not a conspiracy, dog worshiper.
8-year-old boy is dead after being attacked by a pair of dogs this afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm John Brown.
And I'm Luann Srow. Vicious attack.
What follows is a clip from a video I published last year, in 2025. So the next few cases are not new at all. It's how last year started, and this is what happens every single year without fail. The common denominator and easily identifiable cause? Dogs exist.
2 worthless and savage dogs tore the face of a 9-year-old boy in Sochi, a city in Russia, on February 26th. The child is in critical condition and a criminal case has been launched. According to preliminary data, the boy was attacked by 2 huskies that broke loose from the neighboring property. The dogs were driven off by passers-by who happened to be around. In other news, a 78-year-old woman was killed in a Lee County dog attack on Lee County Road 356. Lee County Sheriff Jay Jones said that Bert had walked over to visit her neighbor. When she went to hug her neighbor, the neighbor's 2 Cane Corsos escaped their enclosure and attacked her. As Bert's husband and the dog's owner tried to stop the attack, Bert's husband pulled out a gun and thankfully shot both of the vicious beasts. Based on these 2 stories alone, it is obvious that people's pet dogs are just as dangerous as vicious strays. The second they are loose, these domestic vermin pose the same danger, and may well be more dangerous since people in areas where they are found tend to have a false sense of security around dogs that others keep as pets. How is something that's clearly capable of easily and brutally taking the life of not only children, but adults as well, not seen as something worthy only of a worldwide ban and mass elimination program? Take this older story. which comes to us from India. 2 children were killed by stray dogs in a 1-week period at the start of the year, and those are only reported cases.
A few days before that,
A 9-year-old girl in Russia was killed by a loose pack of these worthless creatures. And it never seems to end.
So I looked up how many children killed by dogs in India for the year 2025. Personally, I am skeptical of the low numbers I found. India is a huge country with a massive stray dog population. It also has a very high human population, although I did get this AI overview.
while exact, comprehensive, nationwide data specifically for child fatalities due to dog attacks in India is not readily aggregated, reports indicate that children are frequently targeted by packs of stray dogs, with multiple incidents reported annually.
Do you honestly think that humans are going to seriously get rid of dogs entirely? We have far too great of an emotional attachment to them.
Seriously though, a dog nutter actually wrote that to me once. This is what we're up against. It also makes it really stand out when these nutters occasionally have the gall to tell us, of all people, that our arguments are based purely on emotional appeals. It is, of course, 1,000% projection.
I also wanted to comment on this. I did recently post about this, and I actually deleted that entry by accident. As Midwest rapper Tech9 is fond of saying,
"Oh, sorry and shit."
But basically, I'd said that it's kind of silly to put any stock into this idea that the word dog happens to spell God backwards, and only in English, it should be noted. I maintain that it's not a compelling argument for or against dogs. It's an interesting bit of wordplay, and one can always find ways to make things sound catchy or plausible. But ultimately, simplistic slogans are based on not thinking too deeply about what's being said. Defenders of humans and the natural world actually made a pretty good video on this topic some years ago. That video is called Dog is God. Of course, my main issue with this is that dog advocates use this coincidence as proof of dogs being somehow good. This is, again, nothing more than a linguistic curiosity, a samordnilap, and there's no etymological connection, as the words have different roots. I suppose it is easy to point out that the Bible has nothing good to say about dogs as well. If you believe that the Bible is the infallible Word of God, produced by human authors under the direct guidance of the Holy Spirit, then surely you will be of the conviction that God could not possibly be a dog lover. And of course, if you believe the universe had a creator, then surely you will accept that God predates humanity, and humanity predates the existence of dogs. So, at best, dogs would be a creation of one of God's creations. Not, quote, God's creatures, as many nutters occasionally say. That's right, this is what they will sometimes say about dogs. But frankly, we don't need to posit that dogs are somehow linked to the supernatural to oppose them. We can simply recognize them as the destructive, vile, and violent genetic monsters they are. We don't have to point out what the word itself happens to spell in reverse to understand that dogs are bad. We don't need to literally demonize dogs, as in making them into actual demons in order to argue against their continued existence among humankind, and so forth. We can simply present the facts about their many detrimental impacts.
Futility when it comes to arguing or trying to reason with people that are not really seeing dogs for what they are. And what I mean by that is they don't see dogs as predators. You don't need to see them as mutants or demons or anything like that. You need to see dogs for what they are, and dogs are predators, and all predators have a prey drive. A predator with a prey drive and a mind of its own has no business being in a domestic setting, and people don't keep dogs for practical reasons anymore.
Again, just from a public health and safety standpoint, dogs are awful. And ultimately, the core issue is, as always, the presence of dogs itself.
Okay, so my timing's bad, but it's not like I haven't paid my dues.